What's going on, investors? Welcome to the channel. So let me know if you guys can hear me clearly so that we can start. What's going on, everybody? We are starting. We have a lot to discuss in this video before Bionano Genomics begin their Q1 2023 earnings call. So I'm going to just be sharing some couple of important information with you guys. You guys already know, Bionano, this is literally the most important earnings call for Bionano Genomics, okay? Let me know, guys, let me know in the comment section if you can hear me so that I can know everything is working fine so that we can continue. Please let me know in the comment section. What's going on, everybody? Let me know. We have about 28 minutes before the earnings call. BP. Perfect. Okay. So Bionano Genomics. This right here is what I want to share with you guys on this page is the guidance of Bionano Genomics, the 2023, what the CEO of Bionano Genomics said, they are going to be key publication of OGM, yada yada, achieve full year, yada yada. Q4 2022 full year financial highlight. I want to share with you guys the guidance, financial guidance. Okay, Bionano expects full year 2022 revenue to be in the range of 35 million to 38 million US dollars, which would represent a range of 26% to 37% growth over full year 2022 revenue. We anticipate the installed base of OGM systems will total 325 by the end of 2023. So according to the preliminary result from Q1, they expect to report about 259 Sapphire device installed base, okay, today. So let's see, maybe they are going to surprise us with one extra. Maybe it's going to be 260. Let's wait and see. And there is something else I want to share with you guys, but I don't think it's on this page. I think we have already, we spoke a lot about, the revenue, the 2022 revenue, and most of you guys are not really interested in that. What we want to hear today is, how much cash they have left and how much they have, burnt, okay, in this first quarter, in the first quarter of this year. So we want to know how much they have left, how much they have spent. Because according to Bionano Genomics CEO, they are going to keep employing, okay, they will keep bringing in new talent. So it's not like, I don't think they cut expenses, I don't think they cut their expenses. So we are going to be hearing that today. And also, the reason why Bionano Genomics, why the share price of the company is down massively to till year to date is because of what happened a couple of weeks ago when they dropped that SEC filing about reverse stock split. And the funny thing is, before they dropped that news, I made a video like a week prior before that news that you guys should expect a stock split, reverse stock split, and I was right. So 1 week before they dropped that news, maybe they just maybe they are watching my video and maybe they don't want me to ruin everything for them, so they dropped that news. And since then, the share price of the company has been selling off. Look at that, from February, almost $2. We closed today at 74 cents. And the thing is, this is we have about 2 weeks, I believe. Bionano Genomics needs to close above $1. So we have about 2 weeks before they get a letter. If they don't close above, $1. If they don't close above $1, they're going to receive a letter, a notice from NASDAQ. And that is not good. Okay, that is bad for business, because the reason why they want to perform this reverse stock split is also to kind of inflate the share price. If they perform 10 for 1, okay, then the let's say the share price is going to be times 10 of where it is today. So let's say above $6. So which means it's going to buy them some time. But most of us, we are just afraid. Bionano Genomics, after the reverse stock split, We are just afraid that short sellers are going to come in and they are going to push the price down to where we are today, okay, or towards $1, and then we are going to go back to the same story of reverse stock split. We have seen a lot of companies perform all this kind of stock splits. A perfect example is EVFM, for example. EVFM, I don't know if you guys know EVFM. This is a stock that I was tracking till last year. Look at that. This stock closed today at 1 cent. 1 cent. If you go to year to date, you can see from 6 cents to 1 cent. Now, if you go to 1 year, you guys can see they used to trade around, look at that, $1.35. If you go to 5 years, they used to trade around here. Look at that, $92. So they have been performing reverse stock split, literally non-stop. Okay. Reverse stock splits, raising money, whereby short sellers just keep coming in and pushing everything down. You guys can see right here. So that is my worst fear for Bionano Genomics. Okay, they need to report strong earnings, install more Sapphire, cut expenses. That is what we want to see. And some people are even arguing that the CEO should step aside. Okay, this CEO should step aside because the company is wasting money, burning money, whereby the pocket of the CEO is getting bigger and bigger. The guy has literally made millions of US dollars in the past 2 years, whereby retail investors, I cannot talk for institutional investors because these guys, they have large pockets. Retail investors have been literally, they have lost a lot of money. We have lost a lot of money. Some of us are down -80%. I spoke with somebody that was down -90%. So I really don't understand what's And another thing I want to discuss is Bionano Genomics going to go bankrupt? I don't think it's going to be that fast, guys. I mean, they could keep performing reverse stock splits, I don't know, for the next couple of years. And they could just keep raising money, performing reverse stock splits, and keep the light on, the company's light. And hopefully in the next couple of next 2 years or so, we can hear something from. Anyway, I think the result is in. Okay, I think the result is in. 8 minutes ago, Bionano Genomics report first quarter 2023 results and highlights recent business progress. Okay, I'm going to make this bigger. I mean, nothing really big here. We already know the preliminary results. So Q1 revenue was $7.4 million US. Okay, $7.4 million US, which represents a 30% increase over Q1 2022. And install base of, so it's the same. There's no surprise. It is the same. Okay, according to the preliminary. The Sapphire install base is now 259, just like they already shared with us. System total as of Q1 2023, which represents a 47% increase over Q1 2022. And so sold 5,226 nano channel array flow cells Q1, which represents a 6. This is the only awesome news right here, guys. I mean, this is something that was supposed to happen since couple of quarters away, maybe second quarter of last year. That is when Bngo should be selling like 5,000 flow cells, but somehow now is when we're doing it. So you guys should expect Q1 2024 hopefully to be closer to 10,000 flow cells. Okay, that is what we want to see. We just want to see double number, like above 50%. Installed base, for example, okay, this is, I'm not gonna accept this. This is just 19 Sapphire devices they installed in this quarter. This is going to be super slow. I'm still going to share more with you guys in this video. I'm going to share with you guys my 9 years guidance, okay, forecast of Bionano Genomics. Anyway, so Q1 2023 installed base of Sapphire total yada yada. We've already seen this. They installed only 19 systems in this Q1. Flow Cells announced collaboration with NVIDIA to develop an accelerated platform for use in Bionano's optical genome mapping workflow. I mean, I already saw this. I made a video about this already about 3 months ago or so. When NVIDIA was talking about their next generation graphic GPU or something like that. There was a video about NVIDIA that NVIDIA made, and they spoke about not only Bionano Genomics, they spoke about other sequencing companies. I think PacBio, Oxford Nanopore, and so on and so forth. So not just about Bionano Genomics. So this to me This is not a breaking news. I spoke about this, about 2 months ago. So announced that an original equipment manufacturer OEM partner in China, Beijing Genome BGPT, a comprehensive molecular diagnostics company, obtained reagent class 1 registration for China. Okay, so we heard about this. This one was a good news, but we don't really know how that is, bringing in money so far. I believe that is going to help Bionano Genomics. I made a video about this also. This literally like, something like FDA approval in America, something similar to that. So hopefully the CEO is going to tell us more about this. Okay. So significantly expanded 4-day 2023 symposium year over year, 31 oral presentation on OGM, 114 countries represented, 69 yada yada. Okay, this is literally what Bngo has been doing, year over year. So nothing big from here. Okay. Every year they bring in more scientists to come and talk about how optical genome mapping is in concordance with old methods of analyzing genomes, or new discoveries and so on and so forth. So held first ever strategy day at Nasdaq market site in New York, where Bionano's management team delivered an in-depth review of the company's strategy and growth initiatives and outlined our 3-year financial targets, including 30 to 50% compound annual growth in revenue. Guys, this was a good news, okay? But the thing is, this news, if they keep spending money like they already are, it's going to kill all this good news, okay? I mean, they need to cut expenses. If Bionano Genomics cannot figure out how to cut expenses, that is the problem we are having. Let's continue. Key publications support OGM's utility for research applications, including cancer and genetic disease. 3 publications from European Institute, collectively, yada yada. Research from Augusta University, yada yada. A preprint publication described the multi-site evaluation of OGM for postnatal. We know that, yada yada. Let's continue. I want to go to where the money is, okay? So financial highlights: revenue $7.4 million US, GAAP gross margin, yada yada, 28%, okay, compared to 15% from the first quarter of 2022. Gross margin is not bad. The increase was primarily due to year-over-year improvement in our flow cell chip production yield. First quarter 2023 non-GAAP gross margin was 30%, okay, compared to 15% from the first quarter of 2022. First quarter 2023 non-GAAP gross margin includes $146,000 in stock-based compensation. First quarter GAAP operating expenses. Look at that, guys. It's literally $40 million US in the first quarter. Meanwhile, they brought in $7.4 million US. I mean, this is super obvious, okay? I mean, you don't really need to bring out your calculator before you can calculate what is going on at Bionano Genomics. Look at that. They brought in $7.4 million US in the first quarter total revenue. Meanwhile, they spent closer to $40 million US. Okay, that is of course what I have been talking about. First quarter 2023 non-GAAP operating expenses was $33.6 million US compared to $24.2 million US in the first quarter. You guys can see they spent more money, literally $10 million US more. Okay, that is what I am estimating right now. I think Bionano Genomics is going to keep spending like $10 million US more every quarter, literally. $1.8 million in amortization of intangible and $80,000 increase in the estimated. Okay, I said $800,000. Now, cash and cash equivalents and available for sale securities were $95.8 million as of March 31st, 2023. I said it. I knew Bionano Genomics cash is going to come in lower than $100 million US. Look at that, $95.8 million US. Meanwhile, if they spent $40 million US in the first quarter, this money is going to finish in the next 2 quarters. Okay, this literally like $80 million US. If you add 5 million, you can easily tell this money is not. It's not gonna be enough for the entire year. Okay, $95.8 million US. Oh, okay. Christopher Stewart, the Chief Financial Officer at Bionano, added, Q1 2023 was an important quarter for the company Our gross margins improved, and we believe momentum for OGM continues to build. We are leveraging our investment in the commercial organization and evidence development to drive adoption of the Sapphire system. We continue to execute on our strategy as we seek to generate long-term shareholder value. Plan to reduce future cash expenditure. Bionano recently undertook a strategic review of our operations, and today we announced our initiative to reduce cash expenditures by approximately $20 million over this and the next 4 to 5 quarters. Look at that. Look at that. Today, we announced our initiative to reduce cash expenditures by approximately $20 million over this and the next 4 to 5 quarters. This cost reduction initiative includes, among other things, a reduction in force that we effected May 8, 2000, reduction in force, plans to decrease anticipated new hires. Look at that. That is what I'm talking about. They are planning to decrease anticipated new hires for the remainder of 2023. Bionano Genomics is supposed to have been doing this since last year. Okay, I mean, literally everybody that is invested in the stock market knows that the CPI data was getting out of hand, and Fed keeps hiking interest rates. A couple of days ago, they hiked it by 25 basis points once again to 5% or so. You guys can already, I mean, where was the chief financial officer of Bionano Genomics? I mean, he could have at least talked to Eric and they could have done something, but no, they were spending money like there's no tomorrow. Burning money. A reduction to our safety stock of inventory due to a reduced risk. We are seeing, I mean, I don't believe everything they write here until I see the earnings of Q2 2023. I want to see the earnings result of the second quarter of this year before I can believe everything they write here. Okay, that they want to reduce it by $20 million over this and the next 4 to 5 quarters. They still need to tell us more about this during this earnings call today. Then we have to wait till the next earnings before we can at least know that they are doing something about expenditures, okay, about expenses. Now, we expect to continue to prioritize and invest in our high priority programs that support the ongoing adoption of OGM and new product launches, and we remain on track to meet our previously publicly announced 2023 elevated anticipated milestones, including the advancement of our clinical studies, expansion of our OGM installed base, and planned product and regulatory development. So yeah, anyways, we have to I'm going to move this to the other side and try to fill this form so that we can listen to the calls together. Meanwhile, Bionano Genomics, let's take a look at what is happening with the share price of the company. All right, so I think investors like a little bit of what Bionano Genomics said about reducing cost. You guys can see the share price of the company is up about 1.3%. And I'm still going to be diving deep into that cost reduction. I want to fill this form so that we can listen to the earnings call together in the next 11 minutes or so. My nose is killing me. Okay, so that is set. We have like 11 minutes before the earnings call. So yeah. Guys, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. That's a good start. It was later. Yeah. Nothing new. Audio is good. Okay. Hello all. What's up, Mr. Invest? Shout out to Mr. Invest a lot. He's among us today. Yeah, I mean, this is a good start. Okay, they need to cut some cost. Let me go back to that. This is a good start. But like always, we just have to wait and see how they plan to do that, okay? Because according to the CEO, I want to share something with you guys. I already prepared a lot of things to share with you guys today, but time is always against me. I'm always in a hurry. Anyways, so Bionano Genomics came in and on the 28th, I believe it was on the 28th of April, 14 preliminary statement providing notification of matter, yada. Where is that from 14A? Okay, On the 28th of April, they came in and they filed this file right here, okay, DEF 14A, and since then the share price of the company has been going down, okay. And also we saw a letter from Eric Holmlin whereby he is telling us about, you know, how he wants us to support. There is something that's going to happen on the 14th of this month. We have to vote. Stockholders, they have to, okay, details on the annual meeting of stockholders. There's going to be a vote, and they want you, you know, to vote for proposal number 4. According to Eric, he said, "Dear fellow stockholders, you know, I am writing to ask for your support on the proposals described in our 2023 definitive proxy statement filed with the SEC on April 28, 2023. In particular, I am asking you to vote for proposal 4, the reverse split proposal." And some of you guys are already saying you're not going to vote for the proposal number 4. You won't vote for, you know, reverse stock split. So Bionano Genomics CEO, he spoke a lot about it. I already highlighted what I want to share with you guys in a separate video, and I think I just have to make that video after this, you know, earnings call, because that is going to happen next month. So I don't want to mix it with the earnings. Anyways, so I think he's going to talk about it today, you know, why you guys should vote for, you know, proposal 4, and why you should support the stock split. Okay, my broker cannot allow me to vote. I'm using eToro. Unfortunately, I can't. And most people are already saying they are not going to vote, but let me see if I can quickly share it with you guys. The proposal number 4, we can talk about it a little bit. Yeah, so this is the proposal number 4. We have about 8 minutes left before the earnings call. So here you have the proposal. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Notice of annual meeting of stockholders to be held on June 14th, 2023. So you guys can see right here. This one is from Eric. Dear stockholders, you are cordially invited to attend 2023 annual meeting of stockholders. It's going to be annual meeting of Bionano Genomics Inc., a Delaware corporation, to be held on Wednesday, June 14, 2023 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. The annual meeting will be held in a visual meeting format only via a live webcast on the internet with no physical in-person meeting. So you'll be able to attend and participate in the annual meeting online by visiting this website right here, yada yada. Now, you are being asked to vote on the following matters. The first one is to elect the 3 nominees for class 2. 1 second, I have to turn on this. Okay, so to elect the 3 nominees for class 2 director named in the accompanying proxy statement, each to hold office until 2026 annual meeting of stockholders, or until a successor is duly elected and qualified, or until the director's earlier death, resignation, or removal. We refer to this proposal as the director election proposal, or proposal 1. Now, proposal 2 is to approve on an advisory basis the compensation of the company's named executive officers as disclosed in the accompanying proxy statement. We refer to this proposal as the say on pay proposal, or proposal 2. I think most of you guys look at this number 2. These guys have, the CEO of Bionano Genomics has literally made about $10 million in the past 2 years. Okay, in the past 2 years. But if you take a look at the share price of the company, it's been going down. We have lost a lot of money investing in this company over the past 24 months. Okay. Now, proposal number 2 means, do you want to approve, you know, more compensation? Now, number 3, to ratify the selection of BDO USA LLP by the audit committee of the board of directors to serve as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31st. And 2023, we refer to this proposal as the auditor ratification proposal, or proposal 3. I mean, this one is okay. Nothing bad about this number 3. And then the elephant in the room, proposal number 4. Okay. Now, proposal number 4 is about stock split. 1 for 5 or 1 for 10. Okay. To approve a series. What are majority votes? No. to approve a series of alternate amendments to the company's amended and restated certificate of incorporation as amended to effect at the option of our board of directors a reverse stock split of our common stock at a ratio between 1:5 and 1:10 inclusive as determined by our board of directors in its sole discretion. We refer to this as the reverse stock split proposal or proposal 4. So proposal number 4 is the reason why the share price of Bngo went below $1 when the this filing was filed, and when this document was filed, and when most of you guys started to be aware of what is going on, reverse stock split. Nobody likes reverse stock split. I mean, reverse stock split simply, of course the CEO said, the reason why they are doing this is to avoid the $1 Nasdaq price level, and to provide liquidity, and to raise some money in the future so that they can continue their at the market offering. They can keep diluting shares, raising money to fund the activities of the company, the research and development, putting some money in the pocket of the executives. You guys know how it is going. And number 5, to improve the adjournment of the annual meeting if necessary, to solicit additional proxies if there are not sufficient votes in favor of proposal 4, the reverse stock split proposal. We refer to this as the adjournment proposal. Or look at that, if there are not sufficient votes in favor of proposal 4, the reverse stock split. So that is why they put number 5 there. So I think whether we like it or not, the reverse stock split is going to happen. Okay, if we like it or not, either we like it or not, it's going to happen. Now, number 6, to conduct any other business properly brought before the meeting. So we have 3 minutes left before the earnings call. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section. So somebody writes, Libro Anthony wrote, what happens if majority votes no? Bionano Genomics is going to make sure the vote becomes yes. That's what is going to happen, because this is a company. They need to raise money to fund their business activities, and it is what it is. We are just retail investors with smaller pockets, and institutional investors that I believe the CEO of the company, Eric, is going after Toots, is going after institutional investors. It's not going after retail investors. This guy literally doesn't care about we retail investor. Okay, I mean, when was the last time we heard from him? You can find him only on Instagram. He barely comes on Twitter to talk to us. So yeah, according to Mr. Invest a Lot, he said they need to find another way to raise cash, maybe loan. It's risk the listing too if they remain under $1. I think reverse stock split is needed. Reverse stock split is going to happen whether we like it or not. And Bionano Genomics, another good news about Bngo is they don't have any loan. But the thing is, Bionano Genomics had loan when their expenses was very small. But right now the expenses is huge. Okay, they literally just spent $40 million in the first quarter of this year. So if you think that Bionano Genomics can go to bank and take a loan right now, I mean, I don't think that is a good idea. We already saw what's going on with CPI inflation. Interest rate is crazy right now. I don't think anybody is going to borrow any money at the moment. So the only thing they can do is to reverse stock split, dilute shares at the market. That's the only option they have, because they need to keep running the business. And as you guys can see, they have like just 2 quarters of cash left. So interest rate is super high right now. I don't think anybody has anybody can just go to the bank and take some loan right now. It is crazy right now. It's gonna happen. Reverse stock split is going to happen. I mean, we just have to wait and see what's going to happen with the share price of the company, and how we retail investors can benefit from it. Of course, I share more information with you. You already know my patrons, and I'm following the price action so that we can at least most people that have massive drawdown can at least break even, or make something out of nothing. So 30 minutes, 10:30 p.m. in Germany. When are they going to start? They should start any moment from now. Bionano Genomics should start any moment from now. I'm going to grab my tea. I'll grab myself a tea and then Bionano. We are waiting for Bionano Genomics, guys. I'm waiting for them. I'm waiting for them. I'm waiting for Bionano Genomics. They are like 1 minute late. Okay.
Earnings conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star then number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw the question, please press star 1 again. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to David Holmes from Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Bionano Genomics First Quarter 2023 Financial Results Conference Call. Leading the call today is Dr. Eric Holmlin, CEO of Bionano. He is joined by Chris Stewart, CFO of Bionano. After market close today, Bionano issued a press release announcing its financial results for the first quarter of 2023. A copy of the release can be found on the Investor Relations page of the company's website. I would like to remind everyone that certain statements made during this conference call may be forward-looking, including statements about Bionano's annual and quarterly revenue outlook, strategic and commercialization plans, anticipated benefits or improvements to Bionano's products, including the Sapphire
The sound is very bad, guys. Let's hope they are going to increase the volume. Okay, the sound is very bad.
And the timing of such release of products, anticipated milestones for 2023, the advantages of the Sapphire system over current technologies, Bionano's anticipated benefits from its announced reduction in force and other cost savings initiative, achievements of publicly announced 2023 Elevate anticipated milestones, advances in obtaining reimbursement of OGM, and Bionano's expectations regarding results and publications and anticipated benefits of these studies and publications in driving adoption of OGM. Such forward-looking statements are based upon current expectations, and there can be no assurances that the results contemplated in these statements will be realized. Actual results may differ materially from such statements due to a number of factors and risks, some of which are identified in Bionano's press release and Bionano's reports filed with the SEC. These forward-looking statements are based on information available to Bionano today, Tuesday, May 9th, and the company assumes no obligation to update statements as circumstances change. In addition, to supplement Bionano's financial results reported in accordance with U.S. Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, or GAAP, the company is reporting non-GAAP operating expense and non-GAAP gross margin. These non-GAAP financial measures are not meant to be considered in isolation or as a substitute to comparable GAAP measures, and should be read in conjunction with the company's consolidated financial statements prepared in accordance with GAAP, have no standardized meaning prescribed by GAAP, and are not prepared under any comprehensive set of accounting rules or principles. A description of both non-GAAP operating expense and non-GAAP gross margin and reconciliations of non-GAAP operating expense to GAAP operating expense and non-GAAP gross margin to GAAP gross margin are included at the end of the company's earnings release issued earlier today, which has been posted on the Investor Relations page of the company's website. An audio recording and webcast replay from today's call will be available on the Investor Relations section of the company's webpage. With that, I will turn the call over to Eric.
Thank you, David, and good afternoon, everyone. We're pleased to provide a full report today on our Q1 results and the business. We would also like to take this opportunity to describe what we are doing in light of the current market environment. Starting with the business, revenue for the quarter was $7.4 million, which represents a 30% year-over-year increase from the same period of 2022, and the largest increase for any Q1 ever. It also represents the 10th consecutive quarter with year-over-year revenue growth on a quarterly basis. The Saphyr install base grew by 19 systems to 259 during Q1. That represents 47% growth over the installed base of 176 at the end of the first quarter of 2022. And this addition of 19 systems in the first quarter of 2023 shows a significant increase over the 12 systems that we installed in the first quarter last year. We sold 5,226 flow cells in Q1 2023. That represents a 62% year-over-year increase over the 3,225 flow cells that were sold in the first quarter of 2022. Quarterly sales of flow cells have now grown consistently on a year-over-year basis for 15 consecutive quarters. Key business highlights in the first quarter included Symposium, which is our quintessential event for the OGM community. It took place January 23rd to the 26th, and we're so proud to have welcomed attendees from over 100 countries who altogether drove a 32% increase in average daily attendance compared to Symposium 2022. And this year there was a record combined 100 scientific presentations and posters. Our OEM partner, Beijing Genome Precision Technology, or BGPT, obtained reagent Class 1 registration from China's National Medical Products Administration, or NMPA, for Bionano's DNA extraction kits and labeling products that will for in vitro diagnostic use. This registration allows BGPT to market these products to independent clinical labs in China. BGPT is now working on registering Saphyr, and once registered, it can be sold into Tier 3 hospitals in China. There were 16 new publications this quarter describing the application of OGM in human genome clinical research, including the first peer-reviewed publication from our trial in postnatal genetic disease, which is designed to support optical genome mapping and becoming part of the standard of care in genetic testing. The cumulative total of human-focused clinical research publications describing optical genome mapping grew from 23 at the end of 2020 to 53 at the end of 2021 to 108 at the end of 2022. So the 16 in this first quarter represents a substantial advancement here now in 2023. Something else that's remarkable is the count of the number of published unique clinical genomes that have been analyzed, written up, and put into the literature. That number grew from just 214 in 2020 to 1,478 in 2021 to now 3,092 at the end of 2022. So substantial expansion in data in the field regarding optical genome mapping. We see this growth in publications as a key outcome of our increasing investments in market development, especially during 2021 and 2022, which we believe enable our sales and marketing and scientific and clinical affairs teams to support customers in getting their data analyzed, papers written and published, and our clinical trials and sponsored research programs that interact with academia and a variety of consortia to generate these data. Publications are impactful proof sources that our commercial teams use to engage and drive sales opportunities with prospects forward. They need validation of optical genome mapping's utility and its robustness, and these publications provide that. We believe the growing number of publications represents an important leading indicator of potential future growth and acceptance, and by extension, sales of our OGM-based solutions. We recognize, though, that balancing these key strategic investments with effective cost control is essential to achieving long-term growth and profitability. We remain committed to our Elevate strategy, which prioritizes expanding our leadership in transforming cytogenetics with our end-to-end solutions for optical genome mapping and clinical research, together with driving the medical community and third-party payers to accept and support OGM, while at the same time investing in R&D and building key strategic partnerships, while we simultaneously strengthen our financial position. To help strike that balance, we conducted a strategic review of our operations, and today we are announcing the implementation of an initiative designed to reduce cash expenditures by approximately $20 million over the next 4 to 5 quarters. This cost reduction initiative includes, among other things, a reduction in force that we effected yesterday, May 8th, 2023. It includes plans to also decrease anticipated future new hires for the remainder of 2023. It includes a reduction to our safety stock of inventory. We're able to do that now because of a reduced risk that we're seeing with our supply chain. It includes implementation of several operational efficiencies and other cost controls that we believe will reduce previously planned spending. We expect to continue to prioritize and invest in our high priority programs, which support the ongoing adoption of optical genome mapping, as well as important new product launches. And we remain on track to meet our previously publicly announced 2023 Elevate anticipated milestones despite these changes in our operating structure. These milestones include advancement of our clinical studies, expansion of the OGM installed base, and several planned product and regulatory developments. But before discussing with you these key milestones for the remainder of the year, I'd like to turn the call over to Chris Stewart, our CFO, for an overview of the first quarter financials. Chris?
Thanks, Eric. We got off to a strong start in 2023 with year-over-year revenue growth, and we continued the steady expansion of our installed base of Saphyr systems. While we don't believe our current share price reflects the progress we are making, we do acknowledge the challenging state of the capital markets and are taking the prudent steps that Eric described to extend our runway. Our primary focus remains on executing against our strategic plan, which we believe will drive the most long-term shareholder value. As Eric mentioned, revenue in the first quarter was $7.4 million. This is in line with our previously announced, our pre-announced revenue range of $7.3 to $7.5 million and reflects a year-over-year increase of 30% from Q1 of 2022. GAAP gross margin for the first quarter came in at 28%, and non-GAAP gross margin was 30%, both nearly double the 15% gross margin from the first quarter of 2022. The increase was primarily due to improvements in our nanochannel array production yield. Non-GAAP gross margin excludes $146,000 in stock-based compensation. First quarter 2023 GAAP operating expense was $39.9 million compared to $30.8 million in the first quarter of 2022. Non-GAAP operating expense was $33.6 million compared with $24.2 million for the first quarter of 2022. The increase was mainly driven by increases to headcount, R&D expenses related to our upcoming product launches, and marketing expenses. First quarter 2023 non-GAAP operating expense excludes $3.7 million in stock-based compensation, $1.8 million in amortization of intangibles, an $800,000 increase in the estimated fair value of contingent consideration, primarily related to the acquisition of Purigen. Our cash equivalents, and available for sale securities as of March 31st, 2023 was $95.8 million. We have been and will continue to be proactive in identifying the best path to raising the capital we need. In Q1, we raised $14.8 million on our ATM facility, selling 9.5 million shares at an average price of $1.60. And we are actively working on strategies to raise additional capital this year, including evaluating non-dilutive options alongside issuing equity. We are maintaining our full year 2023 revenue guidance in the range of $35 to $38 million. Our Q2 revenue is expected to be in the range of $7.8 to $8.3 million. Now I'll turn it back to Eric to wrap up.
Thanks, Chris. Looking ahead, we have 3 major product launches planned this quarter. We believe they are keys to continuing and potentially accelerating revenue growth and adoption. The first is our high throughput mapping system, which, as you will recall, has been in the field being used by customers since the end of 2022. This system increases throughput over that of the current Sapphire system by approximately 4-fold initially, and eventually we think will enable a 13-fold increase in throughput. Initial supply will gate the number of sites that will be able to adopt in 2023. We expect to reach the full capacity of production in the first half of 2024. The second product launch is a high throughput Sapphire Compute to go alongside the high throughput Sapphire. It's a server we developed in collaboration with NVIDIA. It significantly improves data processing speed and reduces the time and cost associated with secondary analysis of OGM data. We also anticipate the full commercial release of a version of our VIA software, which is currently named NX Clinical. The software will integrate optical genome mapping data and will be initially focused on applications in hematologic malignancies or blood cancers. A version for whole genome constitutional analysis will be available by the end of the year 2023. Continuing beyond the second quarter, for the remainder of the year, we will focus on clearing the path for reimbursement of OGM through clinical research and seeking FDA clearance to market OGM for clinical use. We're advancing our clinical studies in support of changing medical practice. I want to point out that our solid tumor trial remains in planning stages and will not be a significant use of capital in 2023, although we do plan to submit for IRB approval this year. Our pre- and postnatal studies are in the later stages, which means our principal focus in 2023 will be on advancing heme, which we believe is our biggest near-term market opportunity. Now, following the withdrawal of our Category 1 CPT code application, which we did to avoid the possible assignment of a Category 3 code, since they're not typically reimbursed by payers, we plan to focus on coverage through submitting an application for a local coverage decision or determination to Medicare for reimbursement coverage of our OGM-based laboratory-developed test at Bionano Laboratories. This LDT will be for hematologic malignancies. Coverage determinations set the policies established by payers to determine the level or amount of reimbursement they'll apply to a given code or procedure. And what we see is that coding is actually not the most pressing bottleneck for us. Individual labs are now succeeding in getting codes and getting them paid, and so it becomes important to focus on broader coverage determinations. And finally, in support of FDA clearance of the new mapping system, we anticipate holding preliminary pre-submission discussions with the FDA by the end of the year. Before closing, I would like to take this opportunity to remind you of our Proxy recently published and our recently published letter to stockholders, which inform you of our upcoming annual meeting on June 14th. And we are encouraging all stockholders to become familiar with these proposals and to vote. Overall, bringing a focus on cost controls together with commercial execution, data generation, evidence development, and publications through our Elevate strategy, we believe we can succeed in delivering innovative genome analysis solutions to our customers while creating sustainable long-term value for stockholders. And with that, Carmen, we're ready to take questions.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, simply press star one on your telephone keypad. If you are using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, press star one to ask a question. Our first question comes from Jeff Cohen with Ladenburg. Please proceed.
Hi, this is actually Destiny on for Jeff. Thank you for taking our questions. Hey, how are you?
Oh.
Good. Glad to hear it. I guess let me start with your symposia event. I know this event is a big one for you, so I would love to know some of the takeaways as well as some of the feedback from the event, if maybe you could give us a quick taste of what that was.
Yeah, so this is an event that was created by our Chief Medical Officer, Alka Chaubey, and I think if you look externally at what people say when they observe this event that we're putting together, they're really blown away by the level of enthusiasm, participation, and then the richness of the data that are presented there. And it's an event that goes over 4 days in the beginning of the year, and it really represents a culmination of all the incredible progress that has taken place throughout the optical genome mapping community. And this year was the biggest ever and certainly did not disappoint. I think that the number of posters was incredible and blew us away, and the number of talks that were given was substantial, 100 posters and presentations combined. So from a participation and volume standpoint, it was incredible. But the content itself is what really makes the difference. And so we had an entire day dedicated to cell bioprocessing QC. And so this is a new area for us where optical genome mapping, again, is acting as a replacement for traditional cytogenetic methods, not so much in clinical research and applications in classifying samples in studies, but actually in looking at therapeutic development and evaluating the target effects of gene editing, therapeutic cocktails, as well as the stability of the genomes through the therapeutic cell manufacturing process. And so this was a huge leap forward for us. We had several talks dedicated to this topic. We'll be attending a conference later on this summer in Boston that's totally dedicated to stem cell therapies. And so this is an area where we expect to see significant uptake of optical genome mapping, and Symposium was able to showcase it. There were 2 full days dedicated to oncology, and that was because we had so many talks in hematologic malignancies and solid tumors together that we had them spanning 2 days. And the amount of results that are being presented in these talks are incredible. And so it's aligned with the 3,000 or so clinical genomes that were published in 2022. And the last thing I would say is that when we look at the totality of the data that's presented, we really see that we're reaching a critical mass of impact, and that the Bionano brand is now being recognized throughout the communities that we're focusing on. And these are really the constitutional genetics community, hematologic malignancies, which is part of the broader oncology or cancer community, and this new one, which is so important, pharmaceutical industry, specifically looking at cell bioprocessing QC for gene editing, stem cell, and other very advanced therapeutics.
Wow, thank you so much. That's fascinating. Wow. Maybe if I could just ask one more. I know you were talking about the higher throughput system, and you said that there would be a gate. Are you actually able to give us a number? And then how are you determining which sites are going to be able to get access, early access, even, somewhat early access to this system?
Yeah, I think that's the right way to think about it. And, it's premature to really put any numbers out there. And the process of determining these sites is based on the need for high throughput. And of course, in a program like this early introduction, you called it early access, I didn't, but of course that's the kind of idea. Part of the process is to really get critical feedback from the market. So we're targeting sites that have familiarity with optical genome mapping and substantial sample volumes that would require them to have this higher throughput system so that they can really put it through its paces. But what I can tell you already is that the demand is very significant for the instrument, and I think we've really hit the nail on the head with the
I think
design and
these
development that we've
analysts
conducted,
should
and we
ask
couldn't be
question
more
about
excited to be rolling it
expenses,
out
about reverse
this
stock
quarter.
split, and about
Awesome. Thank you
the
so much,
FDA
and congrats on a nice
approval,
quarter. I'll jump back in queue.
the CPT
Thanks,
code
Stephanie.
category 1, that's
Thank
Bionano
you. One
Genomics.
moment for our next question.
That is the kind of thing that they're supposed to be asking, not all these simple questions.
Please proceed.
Hi, this is Dan on for Frank. Thanks for taking our questions. Just a first one from me. Could you share, in your view, with regards to CPT codes, in your view, what needs to happen to have the confidence in getting CPT1? Since you mentioned you are focusing on broadening coverage more.
Yes.
Is this worth going down the line for attaining CPT1 code right now? Just curious what your thoughts are.
Well, I do think, Dan, that it's important for there to be a Category 1 CPT code that is available for optical genome mapping. And the way that we constructed our application was around one for genetic disease and one for oncology. And I suspect that that's how it will be ultimately when it happens. There are a variety of criteria that the AMA and other groups that come together to evaluate these applications, a variety of criteria that they put together. And we believe that optical genome mapping is meeting all of those criteria, but they're not definitively objective. And if we had to speculate where we thought that optical genome mapping might have some more room to go, it's in the volumes of utilization. Now, when we make an application for a CPT code, we're the manufacturer, and so we don't know all those volumes. And so our ability to specify that as part of the application is limited. And so what we believe going forward is that as more and more labs do as they've already done, which is to apply for PLA codes, it will really bring the amount of activity and volume and utilization of optical genome mapping in these settings out into the public and make those applications much easier to go through. I would say that a Category 1 CPT code is not a prerequisite for getting reimbursement. Labs are now getting reimbursement, I would say, on a regular basis, and it's through a variety of processes, either using existing codes which are specific to the gene or set of genes that are being analyzed, or applying for their own what are called PLA or proprietary laboratory analysis codes. And what becomes important is to get data in front of payers. And we're going for, Medicare first, so that when they see these code applications, they'll be familiar with not only the methodology, which is what the focus of the CPT code process is on, but of the value and utilization. And that's driving coverage. And so I think CPT codes will be important. They're going to get out there eventually down the road. They're certainly going to be important when FDA cleared mapping systems are available and labs that are adopting them are using FDA cleared versions of the system. Our focus is on unlocking coverage right now because we see plenty of coding happening.
That's helpful. And in terms of the publications regarding the hematological malignancies publication that came out, the three of them, what are the next steps? Like, do you need additional studies in terms of starting conversations with guideline bodies to make OGM first year? Wondering what the next steps are.
No, it's a great question. I think that the strategy to evolve optical genome mapping from a basic research tool into something that's used routinely and regularly in translational research, I think that that's what we're seeing now, into something that eventually gets recommended and becomes part of the standard of care, involves getting a lot of data out, what I call a critical mass of data. And a key component of that strategy is to work with folks in the field who are associated with the teams that make recommendations to these medical societies. So if you look at some of these publications that are coming out, the three that we talked about earlier this quarter are from European sites, but we have others. There was a really amazing publication last summer that came out of MD Anderson Cancer Center. All of these authors have an affiliation, or several of these authors have affiliations with guideline-setting agencies such as the World Health Organization, NCCN here, National Comprehensive Cancer Network in the United States. And those agencies set those guidelines. And so by working with key opinion leaders who are already affiliated there, it's a way of accelerating the process.
Okay, that makes sense. And finally, a quick one from me. The decrease in anticipated new hires for the remainder of 2023, any specific department those hires were going to be in, or is this across the board?
I think it's really an effort to I think be just prudent about the hiring and making sure that wherever we're expanding the team, it's on a critical need basis. So there isn't a specific department or team which is singled out, and it's really a process of hitting our goals from a expense reduction standpoint, but staying on track to hit the milestones that we've reiterated here today.
Great. Thanks for taking my questions.
You're welcome. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. And as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, simply press star one if you have a question. And our next question comes from the line of Michael Okunewitch with Maxim Group. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, thank you for taking my questions and congrats on the quarter.
Thank you.
So I guess I'd like to start out and just talk a bit about, with all the process improvements that you guys have made to the end-to-end OGM workflow, and I think most recently, as we saw at AACR, with VIA streamlining the analysis step, can you talk about what you currently view as the main bottleneck for OGM end users and what efforts to further optimize and streamline the workflow you're currently working on?
So thank you, Michael, and I want to acknowledge Carmen, who did a great job at pronouncing your name. That was impressive. So I appreciate you calling in and following along. AACR, with a focus on cancer research, is really an area where we're starting to build momentum. And I think if you look at cancer research in particular, there's two really challenging elements to it. Outside of the mapping process itself, it's certainly doing the data analysis. And one of the reasons that the data analysis is complicated in cancer research is that, a lot of this utilization is guideline driven. And so when somebody goes to analyze a data set, it's not really a process of simply looking at what is present in the sample, what variants are called, but it's really comparing those calls to a specific list of variants that are called out in these different guidelines. And that can be a very tedious and manual process. It can take hours and hours to do. And I know this because we do it in our own laboratories as part of our clinical studies and as part of a LDT that we've developed in Bionano laboratories. And so our new software, which our team is beginning to use and work with, automates that process. And so it's still something that's user-driven. We're talking about a research product here, but the user decides how they want to construct these panels that are driven by guidelines, and then they're able to sift through the variant calls in an automated fashion and save so much time. It's not only a matter of time savings in cancer research, but it's cost savings because the people who are doing this analysis tend to be the most expensive people in the process flow going from sample to answer. So data analysis is a huge bottleneck, and something that's unique about optical genome mapping is even our existing software is extremely streamlined compared to data analysis for next generation sequencing. We hear all the time that labs that adopt NGS have to have whole bioinformatics teams to analyze the data, and with optical genome mapping, it's the same team that processes karyotyping, fluorescence in situ hybridization FISH, or microarrays. It's really comparable to the routine that exists today, and we're just making it really fast. So data analysis is a bottleneck, and we're addressing it with VIA, first in hematologic malignancies this quarter, and then in constitutional genetic diseases later this year. The other bottleneck is around the DNA isolation, and that's something that we're addressing with isotachophoresis, which is technology that was invented and then commercialized by Purigen, a company we acquired last November. And we currently sell a Purigen product for isolation of nucleic acids from formalin-fixed paraffin-embedded tissues, and we're developing a cartridge and protocol, including reagents that will work for optical genome mapping, starting with blood and bone marrow samples, so it'll be able to work with kind of our existing applications in genetic disease and cancer. And so we're really streamlining the front end, which is a unique process for optical genome mapping, the back end, which is just really challenging because it's guideline driven. And then I would say that throughput, it depends on your lab, right? So Sapphire addresses the throughput for a great number of laboratories, and we estimate that those laboratories are processing, somewhere between 40 and 60% of the total volume on a global basis. But they make up a substantial number of the labs, whereas a much smaller portion of labs process about 40% of that volume. They need ultra high throughput. And so this new high throughput mapper is going to address that need. And so I think we're really elevating overall the end-to-end process in significant ways, making it substantially more automated, streamlined, robust, and fast. And that's what the market is demanding.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for that really comprehensive answer. I'd like to just get one more, and then I'll hop back in the queue. So in terms of the cost reduction measures, could you just provide a bit more granularity on where those are coming from? And is that $20 million, are those recurring expenses on an annualized basis, or is that just over the 4 to 5 quarters? Just help me better understand that.
Finally.
Sure. So we're targeting cash savings in both operating expense, cost of goods sold, and through an inventory reduction. We do expect OpEx in the second half of the year to be down from Q1. And again, it's across those three different areas. And the inventory reduction isn't recurring. The other reductions will be recurring until such time as, our financial position changes and we can increase our investments again as appropriate.
All right. Thank you very much. And once again, congrats on the quarter.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. And I see no further questions in this session. I will hand it back to Eric Holmling for final comments.
Well, great. Thank you, Carmen. And I want to thank everybody for following along and participating today. And we look forward to updating you with all of the progress that we're making here in the second quarter in due course. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, that was a disaster earnings call. I mean, that was a disaster, guys. So the chief financial officer was asked how they are going to be cutting cost, and he failed to even go deeper into details. Okay, he just mentioned two things, and he said in the second quarter we are going to see what's going to happen. I mean, literally, that is what the guy said, that we should they are going to be doing something, they are going to be reducing cost. And I was calculating how much they are going to be reducing. If Bionano Genomics spent like $40 million in Q1 this year, if you multiply that by 4, they are going to be spending like $160 million in 2023. Now, they plan to reduce that by just $20 million, which means they are going to be spending like $140 million in 2023. Now, if you check out how much cash they have at hand, about $100 million, which means they need to figure out how to get $40 million this year. And that is going to come from at the market offering. So what I'm going to be monitoring is how Bionano Genomics, anytime they are reporting their earnings, I want to see how much they are going to be spending and how much they are going to be raising per quarter. So let's say every quarter Bionano Genomics is going, I think they are going to be raising like $15 million every quarter. They're going to be diluting shares like $15 million every quarter. Because if they have $100 million and they want to spend 140 this year, they need $40 million and it has to come from somewhere. So I still don't know where that is going to come from. They said they're going to be cutting cost. I already calculated that. They will cut cost, reduce their inventory, and cut head count. Probably they are not going to be hiring new talent. So they are going to be saving like $20 million from this, and then they have like $40 million left to they need to figure out where to get this $40 million from. So we also didn't hear a lot about the reverse stock split. There was something about that. There was something about the at the market offering, which is something that that is literally what we want to hear. Okay, we want to know if our positions are going to appreciate or depreciate. So we didn't hear literally anything from that aspect. Nothing about how the share price is going to perform in the next couple of I think Eric, we seriously need to consider this guy stepping down and someone else taking over his position. Now the question is, who is going to take over the position of Eric? I mean, it's either they bring in on the chief informatics officer, okay, Dr. Shams. Maybe they should bring the guy back and let him manage Bionano Genomics. We seriously need to hear something else from Bionano Genomics. Eric has been saying the same thing over and over and over again. And if you guys take a look at the results, I mean, the share price has been dying literally, since I started to cover, since 2021 January, when the share price of the company skyrocketed. Okay, if you take a look at my 9 years projection, you guys can see that Bionano Genomics is not really going anywhere. Okay, you can take a look at this. This is 2023. Okay, this is how much they expect to bring in 2023. Total revenue, $38 million. Okay, this is my projection, and I don't think this is going to happen. I think this is going to come in. My 2024 projection for total revenue was closer to $200 million. I don't know how that is going to happen. Okay, They have withdrawn, they withdrew their CPT code 1 application. There's nothing like FDA approval. I mean, what we are just hearing is we are going to. That is, of course, why I monitor this company on a daily basis to see what is going on, to know if my money is working for me or not. Okay. You guys can see my projection. You can see what Bngo is reporting. So this is going to be a long journey. If you want to put your money in this company, you have to be sure that you are ready to wait like 10 years, because at this moment, anything can happen, guys. Anything can literally happen at this moment. If they have just 100 million for 2023 and they want to spend 160 million in this year, okay, cash available is like 100 million US dollars after this report, after Q1. So we have 3 quarters left. They spent 40 million US dollars. So you can easily calculate we still need about 120 million US dollars or so till the end of the year. My bad. Now they need 20 million US dollars extra, and that is what they want to cut. Okay, so I think Bionano Genomics is good till the end of the year. My bad. They are good till the end of the year. So they are going to cut like 20 million US dollars, and they're going to be spending like, let's say, 30 million US dollars per quarter till the end of the year. Hopefully, if they spend 40 million US dollars in Q2 and then spend 40 million US dollars in Q3, then there is problem. So if I want to make my own conclusion, I don't think the share price of Bngo is going anywhere for now. I don't see the share price of Bngo going anywhere, except if the Feds come in and reduce, they start to cut interest rates. Okay, let's say inflation keeps going down. Tomorrow is CPI data. If CPI data comes in lower than expected, and the Fed comes in, in June, and then they pause interest rate hike, and then the next meeting they announce they are going to start to cut interest rate hike, then that is interest rate. Then that is good for unprofitable companies like Bionano Genomics. If we don't see anything from inflation from Feds, you guys should expect the share price to literally stay where it is. Or if we see somebody, a billionaire, somebody like maybe Warren Buffett or Vanguard coming in and buying more shares of the company, doubling their position, then the share price can rise once again. But again, we still have that at market offering. We have short sellers, literally licking their mouth, okay, on Bionano Genomics. So I mean, that is my own conclusion. The share price, is it going to stay where it is? Yes, I think it's going to stay where it is. It could go lower because they have to raise some money. But I think according to what Bionano Genomics said about expenses, they want to cut, reduce it like 20 million dollars. We have enough money till the end of the year. So till December, we have enough money to run the business. Anything from December, I don't know what's going to happen. We still have a lot of anticipated milestone from Bionano Genomics, okay, that they plan to let me quickly bring that up. I posted it on Twitter. We have some anticipated milestone for 2023 before the end of this year. So, I mean, toy, like we say in Germany, finger crossed. Okay, look at that. Anticipated elevated milestone for 2023. Second half of this year, reimbursement, submit LCD dossier for OGM coverage to Medicare, expand OGM installed base. Nothing. This expansion has nothing to do. Okay, planned product and regulatory development. This one right here, this is just development, nothing. Clinical studies, this is expenses. They are going to be spending money here. Nothing really here. Commercial release of NS Clinical. Okay, this, in my opinion, I think this NS Clinical is literally the only good news we have in the second half of this year. Okay, this one is from Biodiscovery, the company that Dr. Shams founded. So commercial release of VIA NS Clinical for OGM whole genome, then preliminary pre-submission discussion with FDA. I don't think this FDA approval or anything is going to happen in 2023, so you guys can forget about it. Now, pre-commercial version of OGM kit for Ionic in the field. I mean, we are tired of hearing in the field. We want in customers' hand. Okay, we want commercial version, people buying it already, not pre-commercial version. Pre-commercial version is just a way to to hold us like, okay, we have something we are anticipating coming up for Bionano Genomics. We want customers using that version already. Okay, not I don't know why I'm putting on this. That's NS Clinical forget about FDA. Pre-commercial version, forget about this. So just NS Clinical Software, planned product and regulatory development, only NS Clinical Software. And then, we want to see, I think all these things, all this commercial version of OGM, this next generation software device is going to be 2024. Now, the problem is Bionano Genomics going to have enough money to run their business in 2024 and above? That is another question. Okay. So yeah, the share price of BNGO, I don't think it's going to go anywhere for now. Hopefully it's going to consolidate where it is. It's not going to go to 50 cents or lower. Okay. I mean, hopefully it's going to stay above 50 cents, and hopefully somebody's going to come in and buy some shares, maybe Vanguard, coming in and buying, doubling their position, or Fed is going to just, start to cut interest rates. If not, we're gonna stay where we are, guys. And this is very dangerous, because if next in June, once they perform this stock split, 5-for-1 or 10-for-1, you should expect, short sellers to come back in and start to short the share price of the company once again. And that is, of course, also very dangerous. I mean, this is a very, very delicate, game right now. And consider becoming a patron. It costs about right now $7 every month. If you guys have any question, please let me know. I'm going to go through the comment section and see if I can. And I am seriously considering going to San Diego, guys. I'm seriously considering going to Bionano Genomics, going to the headquarters, and streaming everything on this channel, sharing with you guys my, from right before I leave Germany, sharing everything with you guys, making a video about my trip to the company, making some live stream, some video about, what the company looks like, how the Sapphire device is, how it looks like, how it works, how many hours it takes to, sample, to perform a sample, and to analyze, a sample, and just how the workers are. I need to go to the company and just see what is going on. I mean, I've been making videos about this company for over 2 years now, and the funny thing is I am yet to even see a Sapphire device. Okay, so that is something that I am seriously, taking into consideration, going to Bionano Genomics headquarters and checking out what exactly is going on there. Okay, so that I can let you guys know from my own, physical opinion what is really going on at Bionano Genomics. Because we saw Mark, okay, this guy that sold 1 million shares of the company over a year ago. He went to the company and he wasn't happy with what he saw, and that was why he dumped the remaining shares of what he was holding back then. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't really feeling what Eric was saying during those earnings call. It's literally like the same story he has been telling, and you guys can we can all agree that they are meeting their their estimates. Bionano Genomics is meeting every target and so on and so forth. But again, if you take a look at my 9 years projection, you have to know that if you want to invest in this company, you need to be ready to wait. Okay, you have to wait for. My target was 5 years. Okay, I started to cover it in 2020, 2021, 22. This is literally my 4th year of covering Bionano Genomics. I started in December 2020. Okay, when I got in 2021, that was the massive rally we saw in Bionano Genomics, $15 per share. And then 2022 was just horrible, sell off throughout 2022. And 2023, we start to sell off once again, reverse stock split. So you guys can already tell, if you want to stay with Bionano Genomics, you have to wait. It's either we just find a new CEO and somebody that can seriously let us know what is going on with the company, because I don't think Eric is letting us know what is going on with the company. And yeah, that is just my own opinion, guys. That is my opinion. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'm going to make a video tomorrow. I'm still gonna talk about the reverse stock split. Okay, I still have a lot of things to talk about that reverse stock split. I need to dig deeper into it, and I also need to talk about their expenses, how Bionano Genomics want to cut costs. I need to think about it once again, over again, and go through the numbers. Where is this? I need to go through the numbers once again. Look at that. This is the revenue. This is the main worry that I have with Bionano Genomics. This is it right here. Okay, when they announced the full year 2022 earnings and it came in at $27.7 million US, that was when I started to become Worried, seriously worried. Now, 2023, they want to bring in 38 million US dollars. Look at that. Look at the graph, guys. This is what Parabolics looks like. So if this is what we're going to be getting, you guys have to wait. I mean, you have to be ready to wait for, maybe over 5 years. Nobody knows what's going to happen in 2028, 29, 2030. Okay. But this is not happening any moment from now. Okay. It's not going to happen any moment from now. It's just the bitter truth. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Bad from Mark Smith, JJ, Philip. Shout out to everybody. Mr. Invest a Lot, Charles Brown, Dingo Django. Who else? Elon Tusk. Thank you. And thank you, Zed, Crypto Stock Geek. Thank you so much for the gift. Thank you, everybody. See you guys in the next one. I remember your boy Dayo.